Welcome to CSURams.com for this week's Colorado State Women's Volleyball Update with Coach Tom Hilbert. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Jumping a little bit into last weekend's loss against Wyoming, a pretty big rivalry game. You guys hadn't lost since 2011. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges of that match?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard place to play, first of all, and Wyoming is good. And both the first and second set, we were very, very close to them and kind of made some really silly terminal errors at the end of both of those sets, a net foul, a missed serve, getting aced, that kind of thing, that caused us to lose 27-25 in both of those sets. So then we came out and won the third set pretty handily, and I thought, well, we're on our way, we've recovered, and then Wyoming outplayed us really in the fourth set. So, you know, you have to win the close ones, and I think especially when you're on the road, you got to, if you're that close on the road, you got to win those games at the end, and we didn't do it.
Do you see a lot of times from your team that it is a little bit more difficult to find that consistency, especially in those fourth, maybe sometimes fifth sets on the road?
Well, we haven't played a whole lot of them, so we haven't been good once we get past three sets. In almost any of the matches that we played. So that is a concern of mine. We've got to be good when we get in those extended matches. And so, you know, I'm sure we'll be in that position again, and we've got to be good when we do it.
And taking a little bit of a turn, you guys took on Utah State at home, and it was a completely different game that you saw. Your team played an entire match, and, you know, they swept them. How different was that game from Wyoming?
Oh, night and day. And you know, it's hard to compare match to match because Utah State wasn't doing the same things to us that Wyoming was. They didn't have the same quality of middle blockers, for example, but we played well, and we played with great momentum, and we played with great balance in our offense, and we didn't make a lot of mistakes, and we didn't make silly terminal errors. Now, we weren't faced with those end game situations like we were in Wyoming, but we played very well. I was very pleased for our players to be able to bounce back and have an experience like that.
And talking a little bit about your middle blockers, you have Kirsty, Alexandra in there, and Paulina, but you had to do a little bit of a switch up because of some injuries, and yeah. Alexandra was able to get in on that right side attack. Did that change your game at all?
Well, we aligned her up as the opposite, but she took most of her swings still in the middle. So Paulina and Kirsty were playing a little bit more right than Alexandra was. She took a few swings over there. I think we did it because we wanted to leverage our strengths. We wanted to put people in positions where they'd be doing the things they're best at and most comfortable with. And so it helped us. I think it helped us because I think we didn't have any rotations where I looked out and felt like our team looked very uncomfortable. And we did have that in Laramie. So I think that really helped us.
Moving forward, now you're able to see that your players are flexible and they're able to fulfill these positions. Is this something you're going to continue to try throughout the rest of the season?
Well, it just depends. You know, we hope to get Olivia Nicholson back this week. If that doesn't happen, we're prepared. If it does happen, we still, you know, she hasn't played in 2 weeks, so we've got to get out and see how she is on the court if she is cleared. So I think those questions are still unanswered.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are looking to host UNLV on Thursday, and they are one of the top contenders so far in the Mountain West. Have you guys prepared any differently this week?
No, we'll prepare the same we always do, but I know that the players will be fired up. They know and respect how good UNLV is, and it will be a good match. It'll be a close match, one in which both teams are going to have to play at their peak in order to win, and it'll be very, very important in terms of the outcome of the conference. So I expect it to be big. I expect to have a good crowd. I think it's going to be fun.
And you know, moving forward, since this is a lot of competition, maybe the most competition you've seen in a few years so far in the Mountain West, does this put a lot of pressure on the team and the girls and their playing?
Well, I think there's pressure. The older players are feeling a little bit more pressure than the younger ones are. The younger ones are going through it for the first time. The older ones feel like something's different, and they don't like the fact that we've lost a couple of conference matches. Well, you know, I'm trying to tell them, hey, that's the way it is. You go to most of the big conferences across the country, they're very competitive like this. And so we just need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Get out and let this be a motivator for us to really finish out the last 7 matches of the season with great effort and great consistency. If we do that, it gives us a great chance to win the conference.
Well, thank you again, Coach, for joining us. That wraps up this week's Colorado State women's volleyball update. For CCRams.com, I'm Olivia Landis.